Hello there, fellow village leaders. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Medieval Dynasty. Episode 4, preparing for our very first villager. Alright, next. Make another simple bag, because the one I was using was almost destroyed. And then I'll put the rest of the leather away in storage here. I can also put all the flaxseed away too. I don't need to carry the flaxseed around with me, even though I'm using it to sow my fields, because I have access to everything that is inside the resource storage when I'm around the resource storage building. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish the farming task, because who needs sleep, right? And cheers. Do the items break when the villagers have it? Yes. So if I gave a villager, if I had, so to back up a bit, if I built a farming shed, which the farming shed is what you, what allows you to hire farmers. If I built a farming shed, the villager that works in the farming shed will need access to a hoe and access to a bag in order to do farming tasks, and probably a scythe too, to do the harvesting. It really depends on the crops you're making. But generally, scythe, bag, and hoe, right? Without those three, they really can't work. And they will use up the tools you give them. So if you give them a 10% bag, that bag is going to tear up, and then they're not going to have one very quickly. The same is true of, like, you know, if you have a woodcutter, if you give them a stone axe versus an iron axe, that iron axe is going to last them like a year or two. The stone axe will probably break within the first season. So the higher quality tools, the better. Meaning, the nice bag that I had back in my box is going to allow a farmer to work a few seasons without needing a replacement, whereas these simple bags that I just made out of leather are going to break constantly. Which is why I wanted the higher quality ones saved up, because it's less micromanagement for me to give better tools to my villagers. Because if the villagers have lower quality tools, I will need to either constantly supply them with a high amount of them, or have to run back home every time they break one. Which is really annoying, because if I'm like off on the other side of the world and they like run out of bags to sow the field, I have to drop what I'm doing to then source a bag for them. Otherwise, the farm field that I'm being taxed for having will be unproductive. And as you can imagine, that is really, really bad. You don't want like a giant farm field that you pay taxes on that produces nothing. Because as you can see, right now, I'm still in taxes because I'm in the development stage of camp. Basically, I don't have enough buildings to be taxed yet. But once I have a few more buildings and people and farm fields, my taxes will go up. Which means building a bunch of buildings that don't serve a purpose is really not smart. Because if it doesn't serve a purpose, you're still paying taxes on it. So that's no good. And as I mentioned before, because I'm close to my resource storage, I don't actually have the flax seeds in my inventory, but it doesn't matter because I'm close enough to the resource store to be able to use the flax seeds from the storage. And now, this lovely flax will be ready to grow. So if you're wondering, sowing the flax, oh, and there we go. I broke the simple bag, and it's telling me to craft a new one. That's no problem. Now, automatically it uses the next one in my inventory of the same type. So I didn't even have to do anything because I had this spare bag that I made out of that leather from the deer hunt on me. So I didn't skip a beat. But what I was going to say is, it does not matter when you sow your flax. If you sow it in the first second of spring or the last second of spring, it will grow once summer rolls around. You will sowing in the first second of spring doesn't mean that it grows in spring. It's not finished. So the growth only happens in big chunks between seasons. Meaning as long as this flax is done before end of spring, which I have about a full day left, right? It's literally midnight of day 3. Wow, perfect. I have exactly a day left. All of this flax will be ready to be harvested in springtime. Now, the thing is, I don't actually have a sickle or a scythe which is maybe a bit of a constraint. I might need to buy one of those, but at least I'll have the flax in the fields, which is the important part. And we are 12 seeds away from being done. When you assign villagers to be farmers, the amount of work they can do is mostly based on their personal skill. So each villager will have different extraction, hunting, farming, well, not diplomacy. Actually, can they have diplomacy? Maybe they can. Survival and production skills. So if I had a farmer at level 1 or a farmer at level like 7, the level 7 farmer is going to handle a lot bigger fields than a level 1. But even at like a low level, like level 2 or level 3 farmer can probably handle roughly 100 tiles. Oh wait, did I not buy enough? Apparently I need one more flaxseed. I think I like double clicked on, I don't know what happened to the last seed. It just disappeared or something, but it doesn't matter. Like 48 out of 49 is fine. What do you want me to do next? So improving the village, I would probably build another house to hire my first villager. That would be my next task. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna put my iron arrows away. Or I would build a well. Kind of both. I think the first villager I hire is probably going to be someone that works the well. Oh, was I out of range of my last plot? Ah, touche. Thank you for answering. Yeah, so there's the flaxseed. I'll go sow that last one. I was like an inch away. That's hilarious. But good on you for noticing. I was like, what happened to that seed, man? So if I was standing here, I would have been able to sow it. But I was standing here, and I was out of range. So this is about the range of the resource storage. So as you can imagine, I want my crafting buildings really close to the resource storage, so I don't actually have to go fetch things like wood or ore or whatever, right? Now that I have a resource storage, the other thing I can do is I can go mining for the stone, and then have a surplus of ore ready for when I have a smithy. So that's one of the reasons why I want to get a resource storage up early. Just eating some dried meat to fill up my belly. And actually it occurs to me that before I even bring in villagers, I ought to build food storage too. So you want me to improve the village? I am going to build food storage. So food storage is very much like your resource storage. You don't really need farm fields near your food storage. Your food storage building should have your hunting. So it should have your hunting, fishing, and kitchen near it. So in terms of survival, you've got hunting lodges and fishing huts, which produce food. And the reason you want your hunting and fishing, and you don't have to do both, you could do one or the other. And I generally like hunting because hunting provides leathers too. But the hunting hut has a drying rack that you can use to dry out things like meat, and then you have a bunch of meat you want to put away, and you want to put it away in the food storage. And then the kitchen is a production facility where you cook food. So you're going to want your kitchen near your food storage too. So the next thing that I want to do is to build the food storage, and I might actually just put it back to back with the resource storage, so they're kind of adjacent to one another. Plopping it here. Which means I can add production facilities like up the road this way for the resource goods, and then food facilities over here. All right, let's put away the tools I don't need, and then in order to source the stone, I'm gonna go into the mine. Oh, let's grab a hammer too. So I have my pickaxe, and my hammer. And I'm going to need both hammers because one of my hammers is about to break. It's at 17% health. So, I already have some stone on me, so I might as well add it now. But now I'm out of stone. So, I picked this location not just because it's flat and beautiful with water and all that, but it has a mine right over here, which will allow me to get sources of copper and tin. Early game, you really only can make copper tools because of technology levels, but eventually you gain access to bronze tools, and then much later on you'll gain access to iron tools. But here's the mine. Now every mine, this is like a mine shaft, if you will. And initially, the only veins that you're going to find here are tin, salt, and copper. But if you build a mine on it, it will expand and give you access to iron. So every single mine shaft will eventually gain access to iron, but the only mine that has iron at the start of the game is the one in Sowing over here. Because Sowing is the only village that actually has a mine, and that's actually part of the whole like story of the Oxbow, is that they're the mining town. Right now, I really don't need tin. I don't have use of tin, not really. So I'm just going to be mining up the copper. And when we mine up copper, like 2/3 of what we get is going to be stone. So I'm mining up copper knowing that a massive byproduct of the copper will be stone, because I can use the stone for foundations. And then once I have access to smithing, I can use the copper for smithing. So replacing all the tools that I'm basically in the process of breaking. And also, well, I can't move. Copper is a really good, like copper tools are really useful for sale. You can make a lot of money selling copper scythes, copper knives, copper hammers, copper whatever. A lot of bang for your buck. The nodes inside the mine will refresh every season. So I'm in the last day of spring. So in the first day of summer, all that copper I just mined will come back. Magical, yes, but this game also has like instant healing potions. So, you know, it might sound magical, but it's not any more magical than some of the other content. And generally, once you're fully established, like, you'll likely strip mine everything you have access to in the nearest mines, but there's a bunch of mines on the map. Like I said earlier, you've got the Sowing one, you've got a mine here. So there's a mine just outside of Piastovia, right here. There's a mine over here. You can kind of see where the mines are because there's a certain like look to them on the map, where it's like a stony outcropping with a way to walk into it. Sowing's mine doesn't look quite like that, but you know, here it's kind of obvious that there's a mine there if you analyze the map well enough. Same with the Piastovia mine, which actually I think it's here. But yeah, that's the TLDR about the mines. What about trees? So I mentioned this before, but trees where you leave the stumps will regrow after a few years. Trees where you remove the stumps will not regrow. So I'm dropping off the... Actually, I can drop off both the stone and the ore into the storage here, because I'll just draw from the storage for the foundation. All right, next up we need logs, and I don't have my axe. My copper axe is somewhat close to breaking. So I'm probably not going to rely on that copper axe for much longer. Meaning I'll have to replace it with a stone one, at least for now. Because I don't, at the moment, have access to the smithy. I only have 2.4 production out of the 50 required for the smithy. But I'm almost at a workshop level. Now, one of my hesitations about building the workshop, if you're wondering, is, as I mentioned before, every single building that you build ends up driving up your taxes. So if I build a workshop and I don't actually need a workshop, I'm going to be paying for the workshop, but not actually benefiting from it. So it's important to note that. one of the reasons my production is so low is most of the tools that I'm using right now have been provided to me. I didn't make them, which means that because I didn't make them, I didn't actually level up my production in its fabrication. Not a big deal, because very soon I'll have to be making wooden or stone axes in order to keep lumberjacking. And I'll probably end up building around here, so de-stumping these is fine. I don't want to fully deforest the forest. With that said, I can always replant trees, too. I've already replanted one maple next to my house. So if you end up stripping the forest around you and you're like, man, this is ugly, it's like a wasteland, you can always plant them back. Oh, for instance, I literally just got a spruce seed. So maybe I'll put a spruce seed around these buildings. Cheers. The uptime command's not working? 1 second. That's weird. I didn't realize I broke it. But yeah, absolutely I broke it. Now, unlike houses, you can't customize your storage facilities or your production facilities. Really, only houses get like the level of customization. So besides insulation, I mean, there is some decoration, but there isn't like I want a door to be here or a window to be here. It's not that level of decoration. So only the houses allow you to pick what kind of walls you want, where the door goes, etc., etc. I am fixing that uptime. Done. Now, the question is, once I get the food and resource storage done, I'm going to have just about everything I need to start supporting villagers. And the question is, and I'll poll you guys about this, what do you want, like, employment-wise for the first villager? So, what work should the first villager have? Well, water fetcher, farmer, woodcutter. All three work. My only hesitation about the farming, I will add, is I don't have a ton of money to support more fields, but I'm not necessarily against trying to earn some money to buy the seeds. So the flax field that I did sow, if you're wondering, once we harvest the flax and thresh it in a barn, we will get seeds back from the threshing, so I won't have to continually buy seeds, but I will have to continually buy manure, unless I'm sourcing it some other way. So as I mentioned, you can rot food intentionally. So really early game, when you're like super poor, you can collect berries. These are berry bushes. You can collect berries and have the berries intentionally rot, or you can hunt and have the meat intentionally rot in order to produce rot and then turn the rot into fertilizer. And that's like the poor man's way to do it. And then once you're a little bit more well established, you can build a pigsty or a donkey shelter or something like that, and the pigs or donkeys are going to produce manure. But the reason why I say once you're more established is because animals require animal feed, and if you're not growing what you need for animal feed, which is grains and straw, then you're going to spend more on feeding the animals than it would have cost you to just make the fertilizer or buy the fertilizer yourself. So what I'm essentially trying to say is, like, achieving self-sufficiency is a really nice goal and definitely worth pursuing early on. Making sure that if you want animals to be able to be growing everything you need for animal feed. And then once you have the animal feed from your like oat fields and grain fields, then you're going to be able to support animals that produce manure that then supports the farm field. And it's a feedback loop where then you are far less reliant on purchasing things from the local merchants. But if you want me to have a farming villager, what I'll aim to do is to have I'll aim to try to have them contribute to a 100-sized farm, probably 2 separate ones, sometime in the summer. So I would need some sort of summer seed to sow. So if I go to the management screen here and go to my farm field, I'm going to rename this farm field the flax field. Or I could just rename it flax. Obviously it's a field. But if I go to managing the flax field, summer crops would be cabbage and only cabbage. So I could have them sow cabbage. Here's the catch. Unless I'm doing something with the cabbage, like cooking it into meals, cabbage by itself isn't going to be a moneymaker. So unless I'm turning the cabbage into some sort of high quality meal in the kitchen, it's just cabbage, and the profit potential on just cabbage is rather low, I will say. Alternatively, I could aim to have the farmer sow something in the fall, giving me the summer season to be able to do other things. That might make more sense, potentially. Because there's a lot of fall crops which would be more beneficial. So if we go to the fall here, we could do wheat and rye. And that could make a little bit more money. Oh my god, I am so encumbered full of stuff. And then, yeah, in the remaining time in the spring season, collecting stuff for rot would be a good idea too. But I'm not going to be able to turn the rot into fertilizer without a barn. So I would need to build a barn. So what I could do is try to get all the infrastructure needed for a farmer done in the summer, meaning building a barn, building the farmer's house, and then collecting things that will rot to be able to start farming for the fall. That's not a bad idea. But this food storage is just about done. Oh, I didn't need any more sticks? Oh, that was dumb. I just need straw and logs. And then I'll plant the saplings as well. The rye beer I can bring to market to be able to sell. So let's do saplings. Let's do maple tree A. And I'll put that... Put it in front of my house. And then we have spruce. And I'll put that behind the house. Cool. So it looks like farming wins out by small margin. So I'll try to set up all the infrastructure needed to support a fellow villager farming. But I'm still not done with the food storage. That's going to come first. So all that's left on this thing is a bunch of logs. And I'm almost certainly going to break my axe, so I'm going to make a spare stone axe now. Self-crafting tools like this will level up my production technology, which works towards being able to build. So I'm at 2.9 now, which will help me. Oh, I literally just leveled up production. So I'm going to get crafting knowledge, because I'm more likely to work in the smithy more than sewing or cooking. But with that said, I do have a flax field, so I can definitely see the benefit of leveling up sowing too. And DSN, to answer your question, it didn't say wall, it said well. Villager working in a well. The way that works is they fetch water. Have I gone up to that shack up there? The one on that hill? I don't recall. Whoa, don't fall on me. Not yet? Alright. I'll have to do that. Guess you should wear your glasses? Ah, it's no problem. I make typos all the time. So you could have been right. Exhausting work. And I need 4 more logs to finish. Let's go after another maple. There should be synergy between sewing and sewing. Well, there is, sort of. I mean, yes, if you sew flax, you end up sewing clothing. Bye, axe. And it broke. Now, it didn't replace my copper axe with the stone one, because they're different. So I have to still drag the stone one in. But the stone one is not nearly as good. Bit of a bummer to lose my copper one, but I did get that copper one for free, thanks to Derwin, the quartermaster. He really hooked me up. All those starting tools are just amazing to have. Really gives you a big jump start. Because stone tools aren't very efficient and they wear out very quickly, so you end up having to spend a lot of time finding stones and sticks to replace them, and that gets very labor and time intensive. Trying to get up to copper tools is a big advantage. Plus, your villagers will burn through stone tools too. So, trying to get access to copper tools really early on is a huge benefit. Okay, so we got food storage. So if I put food in here, and let's go ahead and do that, we will have access to food for our villagers. So apples, dried meat, roasted meat, salted fish meat, and we'll drop that into the food store. So at the moment, if I take management, I have a little bit of wood, like sticks or whatever, in my resource store, which is why it's counting for the wood demand. I don't really have wood demand though. But if I add more logs, as you can see, now it's 76 up from like 50 something, because they're things that can be burned. And then for my food storage, when I add the food to the stockpile, you'll see that I'm providing food to the village too. So apples, dried meat, and salted fish meat. And then if I look at the management here, I have 15 water in food storage, because apples also provide water. And then 206 food. I don't have any demand per day because it doesn't count you, the player. You manage your own health. So if I had a villager, I would be supplying food, water, and wood a little bit. Not enough, but a little bit to them. All right, the next task for me. So the current priority is build up the infrastructure to support a farmer. That's what you guys wanted. So what that starts off on is I am going to need a well. I'm not going to be able to support a farmer without a better source of water, because they won't fetch water from the river. And I'm going to stick the well right next to the food storage, because that's more or less where the water goes. So we're going to build a well. After building the well, there will be some other necessaries thereafter too. We're going to need a house for the farmer and a farming shed for the farmer at the very least. And probably a barn too. So right now the plan is to employ the farmer to sow something in the fall. So we'll have all of the summer season to really do the prep. But this building here is one of the first employment buildings that we have in our village, because you can employ a water fetcher. Hey Merps, thank you for the resub. My character's somewhat filthy from all the manual labor I've been doing and running about and sweating. But there's no one around to care about my filth, so I'm just gonna keep working. Okay, the well is done. Now, the production facilities have a barrel here, which is the local access to tools, or you can give them access to tools through the resource storage. Generally speaking, I do it through the resource storage, because it's just easier to interact with one box for everyone. So, the way the well works is you can grab a bucket, If you want to drink from the well, you can just hold E to drink from the well. And then you can craft a bucket of water. And then with this bucket of water obviously has water. And the water can be placed in food storage to support water for your village. So if you take a look at the water demand, right now we have 15. Water supply, 0 demand. Drop this bucket in. And now we have 215 water, 0 demand. So buying buckets, finding buckets, or crafting buckets, and then having someone work the well is a really good way to supply the water needs for your village. All right, let's go ahead and create some roads around this near or newly created infrastructure. Just so it looks more organic. There we go. Looks pretty nice. So we got the well in. All right, the next thing we're going to want to build to support a farmer is the barn. Because the barn allows us to make fertilizer and to thresh grains and to turn grains into flour and things like that. And I think I'm going to put the barn, I know it seems like a weird spot, but I'm going to put it right next to my home. And the reason is, when you thresh things or grind things up in the corn or create fertilizer, you're going to want to put that stuff away in your resource storage. So putting the barn next to the resource storage makes the most sense, rather than putting the barn near the farm. And I am gonna go back to doing a little mining because I'm out of stone, and I might as well get 2 birds with 1 stone, meaning get my copper and my stone together in the mine. Plus, this whole mine is going to regenerate at the end of the day, so I might as well pick as much copper out of it as I can. If I was really trying to min-max, I'd like mine up all this copper, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. Also, I am super encumbered. What the hell am I holding? Oh, 60 sticks? Yeah, that will do it. Should have put those away. Because I can't move an inch. I'm going to drop my stones for now, and I'll come back for them in a minute. Because I can't hold this kind of weight. Now, if you're wondering about weight carry, there's a bunch of ways to increase your weight carry. This game has a backpack slot and a pouch slot. Both increase your carry weight. And then also you can have beasts of burden, horses and donkeys, which you can use to haul your stuff around in saddlebags. And I think it's really, in terms of like efficiency, really important to rush getting like a donkey, because it's going to help you out immensely. Donkeys can carry like twice as much as the player can, so the amount of bang for your buck you're going to get out of a donkey is a lot. Getting that early on. Oh, I have a birch sapling. Let's put the bag away. All 60 sticks, the straw. There, not nearly as encumbered. Oh, I forgot my stone. Right. Did the timer move? Or is it like frozen and broken again? It would not surprise me if it's frozen and broken again. But thank you for the cheer. I forgot the most important part of that. No, it didn't go up? Yeah, I figured. I mean, can't ever work, can it? Okay, maximum encumbered already. You can see how important it is to increase your carry max. There's also a skill point in your skill tree. I think it's in survival. No, is it in production? Where is mule? There's a skill that allows you to carry more stuff. An extraction? Yeah, mule, which increases your carry weight as well. Because this is about as fast as I can walk, given how encumbered I am. Thank you for tuning in to Medieval Dynasty, which originally streamed live on Twitch as a marathon. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind I've asked for no spoilers, so don't spoil it for anyone else in the comments. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you at next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Medieval Dynasty players.